All right, so we're diving into some pretty interesting stuff today, folks. Uh, Luka Dončić in a Lakers jersey. I mean, can you believe it?
Yeah, it's
The
wild.
trade was a shock. I think that's safe to say. And now everyone's kind of losing it about his debut against the Jazz. So we're going to take a look at the game, the reactions, all that, and what it all means going forward for the Lakers.
Yeah, this is big. Not just for the Lakers, but the whole league. Honestly, Doncic is a game changer, right? And this move to LA.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it sent shockwaves through the NBA, even his debut. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was definitely one for the
for
books.
sure. So the Lakers, they took the win 112-95.
Not even close.
Not exactly a nail-biter, but hey, a win's a win, right?
Absolutely.
Doncic ended up with 14 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists.
Hmm.
Now, those might not be the superstar numbers some people were expecting, but
Yeah.
you got to remember this was his first game back after injury, and with a whole new team.
Right. And it's interesting because even though his stat line wasn't, super explosive, his impact was definitely felt on the court. You mentioned those sources that were highlighting the Lakers' offensive output in the first half.
Oh yeah,
A whopping 72 points.
insane.
Some of that can be attributed to Coach Redick's strategies, specifically using horn sets and high pick and rolls to really leverage that Doncic synergy with LeBron James.
Yeah, and speaking of synergy, I mean that's one of the things that has fans so excited.
Mhm.
Even in this first game, you can see glimpses of that Doncic magic, the playmaking, the court vision, the ability to find LeBron for those open shots. I mean,
It's there.
it's there, but of course not everything was perfect.
Right.
There were some missed shots, some defensive lapses that had a few fans a little worried.
Yeah, one thing that stood out to me in those articles you shared was the focus on Doncic's shooting percentages, 36% from the field and just 14% from three-point range. That's definitely an area where he needs to improve. But I think it's important to remember the context. He's coming off an injury. He's adjusting to a new system, new teammates, a new coach. I mean, some rust is to be expected.
Yeah, for sure. It's way too early to hit the panic button.
Oh, yeah.
It's one game. What's interesting to me is the contrast between the fans who are already worried and those who are preaching patience. It's like they represent the two sides of that Luka Dončić coin. The potential for greatness and the fear that it might not all come together.
And that's what makes this so fascinating, right? We're not just talking about basketball. We're talking about expectations, hope, and the pressure that comes with being a superstar. Doncic's every move is going to be scrutinized, analyzed, debated.
Oh, yeah, under a microscope for sure.
Okay.
Okay, let's dive into those reactions a bit more. We've got Lakers fans, Mavs fans, media analysts all weighing in. Some are ecstatic, some are heartbroken, some are just plain confused. It's a whole spectrum of emotions. Where do we even begin?
Well, I think it's important to start with the Lakers faithful,
Yeah.
They've been waiting for a player like Doncic, someone who can take some of the pressure off of LeBron and potentially lead the franchise into a new era.
Yeah, and you can definitely sense that excitement from the sources you provided. There's a lot of talk about glimpses of brilliance and how Doncic is the missing piece the Lakers have been searching for. But like I said, there's also a healthy dose of caution.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting how some of these articles you sent compare this whole thing to LeBron's arrival in LA. Back then, there were all these doubts about, how he'd fit in with the young core, whether his style of play would mesh with the existing roster. And now it's like we're seeing those same questions being asked about Doncic.
It's wild, right? It's like we get to watch history in the making. This isn't just about one game. It's about the potential ripple effects across the entire league.
Absolutely. And the Mavericks fans, on the other hand, they're dealing with a totally different set of emotions.
Yeah.
They watched Doncic grow into a superstar, and now he's wearing purple and gold. That's got to sting.
Yeah, I saw some of those social media posts you sent from Mavs fans, and you can just feel that sense of loss.
Yeah.
They saw Doncic as this generational talent,
Yeah.
someone who could bring a championship to Dallas.
And it makes sense why they're upset. This trade basically signals a rebuild, a shift in direction for the whole franchise. But from a strategic standpoint, as some analysts pointed out in those articles, the Mavericks got a pretty significant return in the trade. So they're in a good position for the future, even if right now things feel a little rough.
Right, okay. So we've got fans on both sides of the spectrum, but what about the media? They're never shy about sharing their opinions.
Oh, absolutely not. You
Yeah.
sent over a particularly enthusiastic take from a 1X post from @EmpireJeffTV. Remember that one? He called Doncic's debut mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing, huh?
And then you've got those more measured analyses from places like Sporting News and NBA.com. They were focused on the potential for growth and integration, how things
I
develop.
feel like everyone's trying to predict the future, figure out whether this move will pay off for the Lakers down the line.
Well, it's way too early to say for sure, but I think one thing's clear. Luka Dončić coming to LA has injected a massive dose of excitement into the NBA. The Lakers are the team to watch now, the team with the target on their back.
For sure. Speaking of watching, we can't talk about Doncic's debut without talking about the LeBron factor. Everyone wants to know how these two superstars will mesh in the court.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? From the game footage you sent over, you can see those flashes of chemistry.
Yeah.
Particularly in that first half, Coach Redick seems to be designing plays specifically to leverage their combined skills.
Yeah, I love that comment from Coach Redick you highlighted, the one about Doncic's off-target passes.
Hmm.
He basically said, we'll get used to those, no problem.
Yeah.
It just shows you how much confidence he has in Doncic's abilities and an understanding that building chemistry takes time.
And that's a key point. It's not realistic to expect Doncic and LeBron to be perfectly in sync after just one game. This is a process, a journey that we all get to follow along with.
And what a journey it promises to be. We've got the individual brilliance of Doncic, the veteran leadership of LeBron, a whole new coaching staff with fresh ideas, and a whole lot of expectations. Where do you think this all leads?
It's tough to say right now, but I think based on all the stuff you've gathered, there are a few key things to watch for that will determine how well the Lakers do it now.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right,
Yeah.
so first off, Doncic's development, that's going to be huge. Can he step up his defense? Can he stay healthy? I mean, those questions were there even before the trade, but now they're even more important.
For sure. And then there's the whole chemistry thing, not just with Doncic and LeBron, but the whole team,
Exactly. It's more than just, finding the right plays. It's about trust communication, that shared understanding of how to win as a unit.
One of the articles you sent mentioned Coach Redick's focus on player empowerment.
Yeah.
He seems to be building a system where players feel good about taking risks, making decisions on the fly.
That's interesting. It kind of suggests that Redick isn't trying to squeeze Doncic into some pre-existing mold. He's willing to adapt his coaching to really bring out Doncic's strengths.
Which could be huge for Doncic in the long run, If he
Right.
feels like he can be himself, experiment, make mistakes, and learn from them. I mean, that could unlock his full potential.
Absolutely. And that's why this debut, even with, some rough edges, is so encouraging. We saw those flashes of brilliance, those moments where Doncic's talent just shines. And yeah, we also saw areas where he can grow.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Well, it means you're watching a major moment in NBA history unfold. You get to see Doncic's story play out. Watch the Lakers figure out this new era and how the whole league reacts to this seismic shift.
It's a story without a clear ending, and that's what makes it so exciting. Doncic's journey in LA, it's just beginning, and we're all along for the ride.
And we want you to be part of the conversation. Head over to social media and let us know what you think using the hashtag #TheDeepDiveLuka. Do you think this trade is going to work out for the Lakers? What are you most excited to see from Doncic this season? Let's hear it.
This has been a fascinating deep dive, and I'm sure we've only just scratched the surface.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.